Happy Valentine's Day. This is the reading for Gemini males. So for the month of February, I released this energy to February. Could go into March as well. This is what's going to be here. So this is for the single male Gemini. I'm just going to get started. I use the Romance Tarot and the Sex and Love Tarot, and we're just going to go card by card. Now the roof, I make up 3 cards in the roof, and usually we have some kind of relationship that comes out in the readings, no matter if you're single or whatever. I attribute that to your next relationship that's coming in. And then the cards in the house, the 4 cards that I have in the house, are attributed to the relationship in full swing. So you may be in between relationships, but this is really the next significant thing that you're going to deal with. So it kind of gives you a leap into that relationship coming up. So the first card I get on the romance side of things is the 6 of Canes. Now the 6 of Canes and 6 of Wands is leaving a relationship. I mean, we're talking about romance here, so we're not just, you know, going on vacation. We are taking off. This relationship is not suiting. And then the next card I get on the sex side of things is the 10 of Swords. So the 10 of Swords is really about the relationships ended. I'm upset, I'm depressed, and I don't have time to think of anything else. I am upset. So not only is there a situation where this person has left, but we are very upset that we had to do so. And there's a lot of grief and sorrow here. And then the next card I get is the 8 of Swords, and that is also about loss and pain, feeling pain. Like we have basically like a huge coffin here where this person is feeling, and it's like regret, right? There's a person behind them. Not too sure why they're there, but I feel like that symbolizes the connection that person had, right? And then this person's on their knees. So it's like repenting, right? That was the word I got. They have to repent. So there may have been something that the Gemini male did in the relationship that caused it to end, okay? And now they're regretful for that. And then the card I get on the sex side for the 8 of Swords is 17, the Star. So it's interesting because we have this star here, and there's 2 meanings I can take from this. One is that, you know, this person may have made you feel like the center of their world. And I get a sense, too, that this male just really didn't pick up on that in the greatest sense of that word. They weren't appreciative of that. They kind of took for granted that feeling that person gave them. But nonetheless, that's the sense I'm getting, is that this person really, you were their star in their life. But whatever it was, is you just could not continue any longer. So the next thing I can attribute to this meaning of the star as well is that this breakup was also highly expected, meaning this is a good thing, even though it doesn't feel good at this moment. It's good for your path. And sometimes things that are good for our path are not necessarily feel good things. Now the next card I get in the roof of the house of love is the 4 of Coins. Now the 4 of Pentacles is about an onlooker. We have someone overlooking this woman, right? And so you're being the object of someone's attention. And I feel like it's reversed. Like I think it's the man that's being looked upon fondly by someone else, okay? And they're not even aware of it. You're not aware there's someone out there that's kind of wanting to be with you, or wondering what you're doing, and at least wondering what you're up to, how things are going. Okay. And then on the sex side of things, for that card, we get the 5 of Cups. So that really kind of continues with the 4 of Coins, because you have someone at your feet saying, you know, take me in, and your head's not all there. You know, so that's basically like that offer, someone coming in, and you haven't quite healed yet. You're not in the mood. You're not over it. You're not done. Even though, you know, I get the sense that it was kind of your fault, It was your fault. You know that outright. Everybody knows that. We just, we're not ready to deal with anybody else yet. We're not over it, even though, it went down the way that it did. Now, the 5 of Cups, right? We have that face in the background in the water and the flames. So there's still a torch that you're holding for this person, still feeling stuff that you weren't ready to give up on. But nonetheless, you have someone in front of you that's offering you affection, and you just kind of, your head's not in it. So the next card I get in the house is the 3 of Cups. Now the 3 of Cups is interesting, because we have a picture here, 3 women in the window, and then a man coming in, and it's almost like he's checking to see if anybody's looking, like it's a brothel, right? Like he's going to go in, get satisfied, and then come back out, and nobody going to know the difference. So that could be part of the reason why we got kicked out of this relationship, and I get a sense because it's on that side of the reading. So that may have happened. You may have stepped out physically on the relationship, and then, you know, it busted apart. Someone, you know, the authorities found out, and it got dealt with. You know, it ended the relationship. You didn't mean it to do that, but it did. Now, the clarification card I get for the 3 of Cups, that's really about indulging in the physical side of things. Nothing else. Nothing else. Nobody else got the keys here. Just me. I'm getting satisfied sexually, and that's it. And then the sex side of it, we get the Queen of Pentacles. So it may have been a Queen of Pentacles that you schmoozed up to. Okay, so that's a strong, independent woman. So much so that the men are beneath her. Like, she don't need a man to get nowhere. But she'll indulge him physically, but don't ask for anything else. So it's kind of the same, really. If we're looking at the man going to get the sex and the woman that's offering the sex, you may have had a partner there that really, you just indulged in things and you both carried on. It may have been a one-time thing, but you got caught. You know, it was kind of like a lesson you needed to learn, right? And it was hard wrong here, because I feel like there's a lot of depression cards. Like, there's a lot of sadness over this. It's not coming easily. Like, oh, well, you know, it didn't mean much. No, it meant a lot. So as we move on here, I get the 4 of Canes. So, so we may have had a situation. Okay, there's a couple scenarios we can break this to, where we were going to marry this person, or we were engaged to this person, or we had moved in with this person. Now we got to move out, or we're ending a marriage. I don't feel it's so much as ending a marriage. I feel like it's more of a move in, move out thing. Now I got to, you know, start all over. And to a degree where this person, you know, you were going to marry that person, not the one you had an affair with, but the one that you were with, you were going to marry them. But so it's like a weak, I don't know if it's a weak moment, or kind of the planets aligned. You really found a match in a certain way. It was just really something that was fated in your path. It was written in your path to do. And that's kind of the situation. You're sitting there going, now, why did I do that? I know better. I knew better. Why did I do that? Because it was written, you know, and there was a lesson there that you had to learn, that now that you've learned it, you won't do it again. But you know, you had to lose something of kind of high esteem in order to really let that sink in. Because I think there was a lot of maybe we never crossed that line, or maybe we did, or to a degree that it just never sunk in, and now it's going to sink in, right? So the 4 of Wands is about having that person that you thought you were going to marry or be part of that. Now the Knight of Pentacles, we get right beside that. So it's interesting because it's on this side of the reading. it's making me think of this person that's kind of admiring you from afar that you're really not all in with, but you could be making them an offer that they can't refuse, like us. And because it's the Knight of Pentacles, okay, we can make mistakes, right? But we're really wanting to not make any more in the future, right? We're going forward with the faith and hope and trust that none of this is going to happen anymore. So you may be making an offer to someone else to either move in, get married. I mean, we got the marriage card. That's a possibility, or someone that you want to get married with. And it may, I don't know, I'm getting a sense here from the one night stand. They both kind of went their own way. You indulged, and it was really like a one-time thing. So there's some other energy besides that is admiring you, and you're kind of like, you're having to deal with this process of this relationship, but nonetheless going in that direction of the new person that's coming in, making them an offer, solid offers that, you're good for, but this doesn't look good. This was, something along your path you had to learn. Now, the next card I get is the 13 Death card. So it's on the love and romance side of things. It's just, you're not feeling romantic. One, because you've took a blow, Sorry, that's bad. But anyway, you took a situation and you had it the way you wanted it for a minute. Oh, man. Yeah, you had that, right? And then you had to deal with it. You had to deal with the end of the relationship, the death of the romance. Because no more can you go in that direction. You really crossed that line. And you're feeling that immensely. We've got the moving away, the 10 of wands, the 10 of swords, and the 8 of swords. We've got a lot of bad feelings here, feeling it very deeply. And then 13th, on the romance side, you're really not feeling like you're going to go in any other direction. But you're not even really feeling like you can engage in where you are right now. Like you can be happy about it. You're really processing those emotions. Now, on the sex side of things, we have the Knave of Pentacles. So we got to watch that we don't kind of drink away things as well, right? Because the Knave of Pentacles gives me that feel. We're going to kind of numb our feelings with something, whether it's liquids, gaseous states, or just indulging in the sex side. And the reason I'm saying that, because there may be an addiction to sex here that you cannot fulfill because of the 3 of Cups. I feel the 3 of Cups is really giving me that feeling like underground. It's underground. I got so much here that nobody can keep up. So you really got to keep that above ground. You got to make people know you have this high appetite, whatever, and you don't go with something where you're going to have to do this again, where you're not going to get fulfilled on the sexual side of things. And I think, it's fine as long as it's above board. Don't go in a relationship where a person has a low sex drive and expect to be satisfied when you know you need more than that. Don't go there. That's what I'm getting here. That's what I'm getting happened. I think we were in a relationship that satisfied our needs in most of the areas except this one, but they weren't being honest with that. They're like, we'll just pat it over. And it didn't work. It didn't work out. You ended up being dissatisfied, ended up to the point where you went out of the relationship to get more, and it just ruins everything for everybody, reputations, all that. Now, the next card I get is the 15. Again, amplifies all that sex stuff, right? Because that's the devil. And not only that, in this deck, she's a woman. She's this woman that can just get in there. And I feel like she's that woman because she's got the hat, right? She's holding the hat out. And she's like, what can I pull out of that? And she's also got a chain tied to her legs, right? So she's chained, she's slave to that feeling, whether it's sex, booze, rock and roll, whatever, it's that addiction to doing these things. So there may have been a history of you doing and getting away with, and then now having to pay for it emotionally where you haven't before. Maybe you weren't in a relationship where you felt equal, but you cheated on them and didn't, no big deal. Because if they break up with me, it don't matter. But now it mattered. This is what you needed to learn. So that devil is really indulging in those things when we know that they're not above board. And that's the thing. Keep it all above board, man. Like, just say who you are and what you are, because you might get a match out there. You might get someone that agrees to what you want. You may not. You may get a lot of refusals, but you may get one. And at least you let them know, like, women can be a lot more understanding. Not like they'll understand you cheating, but they will understand when you say, I can't handle this, or I don't want this. This doesn't, I would rather hear that than no excuse at all. And go, yeah, you know what? I couldn't keep up with him in the bedroom, and he can go somewhere else to get it. Then you satisfy both parties, and then you go and you don't have people bugging you 6 months down the road. What'd you do? Why'd you do that? Then you're free. You've done what you needed to do. So there's a lot of negative stuff in this reading for this Gemini male single. He's busted up a relationship, but he doesn't. I get a sense here, like I was getting a sense, oh no, he's loyal, but I'm thinking he may have been loyal in this relationship up to that point of disloyalty, and then he went there. He had intentions, but it's just that weakness, right? Indulging in that. And I think he did it in the past to a degree where he never got caught. Nobody knew nothing. So he could deny it because nobody knew. So that was easy to cover that up, right? It was easy to deny. All the secrets were kept. And at this point now, it just blew to a degree that it's no longer, and not only that, there's a reputation here. I feel like it's been, because I don't feel as public, but because in the circle that he runs, it was let out. Whether through media, social media, some way, somebody said something, whatever, then the reputation gets tarnished. And that reputation, even though he didn't live up to it, and I get a sense of that, some of these Gemini males were not living up to that. Nobody knew about it, so it was okay. I could stand up for things nobody knew about. But now people know, and it's harder because you got to live up to what you really were all along. So, sorry, but that's the sense I'm getting. Some of these Gemini guys just weren't collecting karma cards for this. They're going out and doing stuff. It was just not above board. Wasn't okay with both partners. And that's the thing you got to think about. So anyway, that's really the situation here that I'm picking up on. So it's harsh. The man's feeling it at this point, and he needs to feel it. That's karmically put there for a reason. That's why it happened. That's why the resistance, because you needed to feel this on a level that others were feeling it. Maybe you didn't sense, didn't pick up on, didn't care to know, that kind of thing. So a little bit of karmic retribution here happening. So that's what's going on. And it seems like, I don't know, I think that the next relationship you do get into may end as well. For the same reasons, or for reasons of you weakening yourself to a degree and doing it again. Like it's a cycle. And you may be drinking. Drinking is the key here. We got to watch drinking because it could lead us off in a certain direction. So we got to get ready. We're just not ready to give up that part yet. And this break of this relationship really is going to start you on a roll of going in the wrong way. And I feel like that's part of the process as well. You have to kind of hit bottom before you can come back up top. So you haven't hit that bottom yet, even though it feels like it at this point. But we're not quite there yet because we're going to still spin out in that way. So it's not good news. It's not great stuff that this Gemini male is dealing with on the single side. So just be aware. Yeah, I don't think you're going to have a good February. As bad as that sounds, but it's really processing a lot of this stuff, and I think that you have no choice. It's all over. You can't get away from it. You can't. Everybody in your circles is aware of it. So it's not something you can just turn your back on, even though you are kind of kicked to the curb type thing. So I don't know. really, we're just going to have to deal with a lot of feelings here and move forward knowingly, because there's the Knight of Pentacles here. And again, it could be an offer made to you from someone else that admires you. That is a solid offer. But I don't feel that it takes too much of a hold here. I feel like you may kind of lick your wounds with this person and let them in, but you really haven't gotten over the past, and you're really not going to stick with it for very long anyway. It's going to destruct, because you're just going to kind of roll out of control here and either go into some kind of liquid courage stuff and get into trouble there as well, and then it'll just bust apart. But you really don't have a strong foundation here. You're just kind of putting someone there to kind of have sympathy for you when you're not really, I'm getting a sense it's just not really attracted to this next person coming in, even though, and you end up ending that as well. That ends. I'm not sure if it's you that ends it or her. I think it's it may be a partner that ends it, but nonetheless, it doesn't last. Not a great place this Gemini male is in for Valentine's. So, you know, happy Valentine's is going to be lost. It's really going to be a dark time for these Gemini males. So hopefully over that time, you just kind of try and gain some sense and just really feel those emotions out is the only advice I could really give you. Because that's really what it was put there for, is for you to feel what it feels like to be cheated on. And that's the feeling that you get when you kick to the curb, because that's really, they just don't want you doing that anymore. And if you do, you tell them, say, look, I can't be loyal and I want to go have freedom. Like I said, you may be surprised, you may find one that matches. Then you go in that direction. Just be above board, that's all. Because there's too much underground, too secretive, that not everybody's getting full disclosure here. So that's what needs to happen. And then you're okay. You give full disclosure and you're okay. You're seen for what you are. And you may grow out of it, you may not. And if you don't, then that's who you are and you're accepted, and boom. Then everybody knows. That's the only deal. Everybody knows what's going on. It's all good. So hopefully for the future, that's something that you can do. Just be who you are. If that's who you are, just be it. Do it. And don't, you know, try and trick anybody that you're anything other than who you are. Because that Gemini, right? We can flip switches. We can play the straight man and then go out and look for stuff in the evening or whatever it may be, right? I'm making it sound really shady, but they can have a sense of leading a double life, because that's part of them. That's what it is they need different. They need change. They need things that are not the same all the time. And if that's your case, then just, you know, like I said, just be upfront about it, and you'll get further. Then you'll be less depressed than you are trying to pretend you're something you're not. So, in the meantime, happy Valentine's Day, and take care. Don't have too much fun. And be kind. Be truthful.